there's really only one topic right now in pop culture that should be talked about, because it's, everybody's watching it and hating on it or loving on it or whatever.
Dogmatic off the bat. Let's go.
And also, because we just talked about civil disobedience, and the ultimate act of civil disobedience was, of course, the American Revolution. And so if you don't know what I'm talking about right now, I'm talking about Hamilton going on Disney Plus and being available for us to watch. I don't know about Carrie and Matt. Norman and I have watched it this week, not together, separately, but we both watched it. I watched it with my entire family and 2 friends, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. There were a little few annoying things about it that I was like, doggone it, Thomas Jefferson's way more of a hero than they made him out to be. But I absolutely loved the portrayal of the king. That guy was amazing.
Oh,
and
you know who he is, right?
No, who is it? I didn't notice. Oh no, who is it?
It's not
Jonathan Groff.
Oh,
Jonathan Groff.
Okay.
Who is Jonathan Groff? Maybe you'll remember him from some little kids movie called Frozen.
Was he
He's
Olaf?
a Lancastrian.
No, he was Kristoff.
Oh, he was Kristoff. Okay.
He's a Lancastrian.
Josh Gad is Olaf, yeah. Okay.
And
so yeah, we thoroughly loved him. It was probably the only part my kids understood because they couldn't follow because it's a rap musical, which was amazing. So
strictly hip hop.
Yeah.
But let's
fine.
be clear. Come on.
Do I look like the kind of person who would know the difference? Come on.
You look like a guy who listened, bobbed your head to Beastie Boys back in the day. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Who?
Are you sabotaging this now?
No, just a little bit. Norman, I'll let you speak. What did you think?
Well, I mean, first of all,
should we cancel it?
Doggone it, no. The movie's fantastic, and the show is fantastic. The music is stellar, and Jonathan Groff is a highlight. I mean, that riff is just killer, and you'll know exactly what I mean when you hear it. It's terrific. But no, this movie's great, for a variety of reasons. But so there's some great stuff. There's so many good things to talk about. We've been talking about central banking the whole time. Well, a central piece of it is, frankly, Hamilton going after, establishing the nation's first bank, national bank. Now, while we could agree here, and that this is a terrible thing, and for any number of reasons, and the show pitches it in a bit softer way. It kind of it sets up the national banking system, if you will, as being a huge innovation and an important piece of making America prosperous. And that's not really historical per se. But if we move aside from that for a second and just talk about, like, what's the narrative about, what is the story, trying to convey? I mean, there's so many interesting meta messages and things that are going on in it that I actually think this might be one of the best things for the country to view right now, especially given what we've been talking about with cancel culture, and which is also leading to kind of a disintegration of the appreciation of history and so on, as Matt alluded to earlier, going to pieces of our history in the locations they're in. Like, this is great for people to see, because even though it does kind of point out some in the contradiction of freedom and slavery in early America, which is, I mean, admittedly is it's present. It is part of the history of America, right? Mm-hmm. It does it in such a way where it doesn't try to cancel it out or try to overlaud people for being one way or the other. Even like, I think it's actually pretty. It's appreciative and celebrates the history in a way that's just great. And even as it pertains to Hamilton, like, there's a lot of ways we could criticize Hamilton from the effects that he ultimately had.
You're talking about the person, right?
Yeah, and the policies that he promoted and whatnot. I mean, like, this is the guy who basically, and it even alludes to this, although it doesn't quite make it crystal clear. In the show, Hamilton is surprised when George Washington says, "I'm not going to, continue running for president," And so there's a whole song about learning or teaching them to say goodbye.
Yeah.
And that's, and it makes it kind of sound like that, like Hamilton was instrumental to that effect, but he really did want a permanent president. Like that was the point. He really wanted that type of strong federal apparatus.
Yeah.
And that's indicative of, from the national bank and whatnot. But like, even so, this is a guy who was a freedom fighter, who was instrumental in the founding of America. Then like, we can appreciate that about him while also being critical of his ultimate policies that he did want to promote. And it also humanizes him. The man was, in some respects, you go from, if you follow with the narrative of the film, you go from like, oh man, this guy is great, to this guy's a total scuzzbucket, to, oh my gosh, I have huge empathy for him. And I mean, like, and this happens in the matter of like minutes. And so it does a great job of telling the story. And I thought it was great. I love the music.
Cool.
I mean, I'm not really a hip hop guy. I'm more of a, modern fingerstyle guitar guy and rock and roll, but I loved it. I thought it was great.
Well, you've convinced me. I'm going to check it out now.
It's absolutely worth it.
Begrudgingly join the rest of popular society.
No, it's all good. For those who are Hamilton haters, the Hamilton like the Alexander, the person haters, the show, I will just kind of plug that they make him a very troubled man in a certain way. This is not idolizing Hamilton the way I kind of expected it to be. They sort of idolize certain parts of his legacy, but not the person. He had a lot of it was not all positive, and they did not portray him all that way. So in the spirit of Hamilton,
confused about that, but that's fine.
Yeah. Go ahead, Gary.
You guys are saying that we can actually learn something of our history, celebrate our history, and be critical of it at the same time?
Yes. That is fundamentally American. Yes, that is.